Coffee Talk on a Monday morning. It is the 4th of October. I'm first morning meteorologist Eric Burris. How you doing? You doing all right? I hope you're having a great start to the day. I know I am. Weather-wise, I know we all are. I'm back inside because the humidity has kicked in and, I'm sure I'll be back outside before too long. But at any rate, it's a beautiful start to the day. It is Monday, so let's get our Monday off on the right note. I am happy to say that our Tower Cam network, looking toward downtown Orlando, a little bit of haze maybe on the horizon. Otherwise, we are doing just fine. Temperatures out the door this morning look like this. It's not the mid 60s, even lower 60s that we saw last week. We're sitting at 73 degrees in Orlando right now. It is 73 degrees in Bithlo, about 70 degrees outside in the Titusville area, 74 in Melbourne, 67 degrees in Palm Bay, and a very comfortable 67. I don't know if I said it yet, but it's twice as nice, so I have to say it twice. 67 in Ocala. Chris, good morning to you. Justin, Deborah, good morning, everybody. Pepsi Zero Talk, Justin, that's okay. Got to do what you got to do. Nancy, Carolyn, Nikki, good morning, everybody. Dew point temperatures are starting to come up. You can see in basically Orlando off to the coastline, we're in the lower 70s. So that's back to kind of that muggy-ish setup, whereas we're still in the more comfortable upper 60s north of town. So not a bad start to the day, but we're definitely beginning exactly what we had said, which is bringing that moisture, bringing that humidity back little by little. Also, I have to apologize, I suppose. Our weather computers run on Windows, and every now and then Windows decides to do its thing. The computer was physically down yesterday at the station, the server, which meant I could not remote in to fix it. So I had to get an engineer to literally go in and turn it off and turn it back on. Isn't it funny how we've had computers around for how many years and yet that is still a thing? Meanwhile, my Mac is pretty bulletproof. Linux boxes are pretty bulletproof, but all of the weather applications that we use just decided let's write the code on Windows because it's the most stable. Nope, because it's probably the easiest to write code for. I don't know. Anyway, anybody that has a computer that's Windows knows. My computers at home are all Mac. They're all good to go, but, it's when you remote into the Windows systems that you run into issues. At any rate, no issues in our weather world today. 1 or 2 showers, and actually we had a couple of showers this morning. I would not do my full job if I didn't pause from our forecast and just take a look at our first warning Doppler radar, because there are still some showers. Brevard County, my friends over along the coast, I am talking to you. Nothing strong, nothing severe, but you can kind of see these little waves of rain coming in earlier around 192 there in Melbourne. Satellite Beach up near Patrick Space Force Base, watching some rains. Little pockets of heavy stuff, but again, it comes out, it comes through, and then it's done, right? That's all. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I feel you, Andrea says, happens to me too. Up to 6 hours of Windows updates. No, thank you. Kenneth says because it's cheaper. Carolyn, I'd switch to Mac if they weren't so expensive. Yeah. Can I just share with you, and I pay for all my computers, so this is not an advertisement. This is no joke, all right? I have 2 Macs at home. I'm on my MacBook Pro right now, which is kind of set up like a 2-monitor desktop setup, like I may just go Mac Mini in the future. This, though, is the greatest computer I have ever bought, my friends. This is my M1 MacBook Air. Coffee talks when I'm outside on the patio are done on this thing. It is truly, when I tell you this computer is the greatest computer I have ever bought. Coffee Talks, we've done many of Coffee Talk on this thing. So for those of you that say that Macs are expensive, they are, but you don't have to get, like, this is an expensive MacBook Pro that I got, and it will be the last one that I get because that MacBook Air with that M1 chip is like unreal good. It's better, I would say, than this MacBook Pro. So, and that price point is, I think it's $1,000, which again, that's not cheap, but You don't have to spend $3,000 to get a great Mac, is all I'm saying. Like, that MacBook Pro is solid. Seriously. So anyway, I digress. You can't tell the difference between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro when I do Coffee Talk. And that should say enough. You know what I'm saying? That should say enough about my thoughts about it. They both perform just beautifully. And I bought the base model MacBook Air too, because I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, let me just see. I replaced my my iPad with the MacBook Air. So I bought the cheapest one I could. Yeah. Really great. Jay says, birthday weekend complete. What a beautiful weekend it was. Now back to reality, both in weather and in life, right? All right, so we talked a little bit about it. Temperatures today are going to get back into that nice warm register. We'll hit about 90 degrees in the metro area, 20% chance of a few passing showers here or there through the day. Notice those warmer temperatures inland, Orlando off to the west. The further east you go, you get that ocean breeze, and oh, is that something special. 84 degrees today in Palm Coast, about 85 in Daytona Beach and Titusville, so it feels absolutely great. Absolutely great. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Let's see here. Good morning, Coffee Talkers. Eli, good morning to you. I use an iMac, but I still work a bit in advertising. There you go, Christy. Let's see here. I heard there's a system to keep an eye on out there. Yes-ish. Let's first do our local stuff, and then we'll get into the remote stuff. Yeah. My dad always told me to get a Mac, but the price is what held me back. Last summer, I got a MacBook Air for like $1,000, and I'm so glad I finally switched. Yeah, it's super. I mean, it's super great. And like I said, this MacBook Air has blown me away. You know, it does listen, I've edited on Final Cut Pro using my MacBook Air, and it's like, for $1,000 laptop, that's wild. You know, you'd think that you need like a mega laptop, but my friends, it's that good. So anyway, all right, let's talk about Futurecast. Then we're going to step out to the tropics because I know everybody's wanting to know about what's going on. So first off, here we go. You can see very clearly Futurecast giving us a couple of those showers this morning. Notice by late morning into the early afternoon, those showers kind of start to change from coastal showers to then we watch for that sea breeze out west to get going. So Sumter Lake, Marion counties, you may have a little bit of a higher chance to see those showers and those thunder showers. But generally speaking, our best coverage for rain is going to be either in our eastern areas or our western areas. It is not going to be in the metro, which is good for things like heading out to Food and Wine today. Out at Epcot, we watch for an isolated shower here or there. Otherwise, it's a really nice setup. It's going to be a toasty one. Is Epcot open until midnight tonight? I didn't even know that. That's a rarity. They're rarely open that late. Very cool. Very cool. All right, so let's talk about the tropics, shall we? I guess it's good time to do that. First and foremost, you've got Hurricane Sam. There's Bermuda in the bottom left corner of your screen. Of course, Sam is continuing to march into the North Atlantic. There's a wider perspective. It is not hitting into Nova Scotia. It is recurving and doing its thing. But Sam is actually one for the record books. It's still a Category 2 hurricane after all these days. Okay? Still has a pressure of 957. It's starting a transition to extratropical, but it held its major hurricane status for almost 8 full days. Bo, welcome back. Arnett, how was my weekend? It was great. I celebrated a good friend's birthday down in West Palm Beach. I have to show you this picture. This is a picture of all meteorologists. And so what's kind of fun, it was a yacht rock deal. But I'm on the left there. The young lady next to me is Katie. I worked with Katie. I'll bring it full screen for you. And then we'll go back to the tropics. So this is all meteorologists at the party because the birthday boy, where is he? That's the birthday boy there. That's Glenn. He worked at the NBC station in West Palm. That's James. He worked at the NBC station. That's Katya, worked at the NBC station. That's Katie. She worked at every station in West Palm, but she worked with me when I was down there. And then, of course, there I am. It was a great weekend. Look at the two of us. we got to have some kid free time. It was great. We got to celebrate my buddy's birthday. Got to go on a date. That was a good weekend. You need we haven't taken enough of those. We really need those. Parents, you need a little bit of you time. Kim, oh wow, they must have flipped out when they saw you were reverse aging. It was fun. Yeah, Quagmire, giggity. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for asking. But it was neat. I got to see a lot of people that I either competed against or worked with. Like Katie, and I'll just brag again. Like Katie, she and I, we worked together on the same weather team. What is it, like 12 years ago? I mean, it's been a minute. And so that was a lot of fun to see Katie and. The other people, I mean, Glenn I love, James I've known, it's kind of fun. And this is what I've said to you in the past, and I hope you believe me. Like, if you look at that picture, these are all meteorologists. Hold on. These are all meteorologists, and Katie's the only one that I actually worked with. The others either weren't, like Katya wasn't there, but, Glenn and James, they were on the other weather team. Oh my goodness, the competition. We're all weather nerds. And that goes with the same thing here as well. Like, the weather community, is a pretty tight-knit community. So for what it's worth, just so you know, we're not like out for blood, All of our goal is the same, which is to keep you informed and keep you understanding what's going on with the tropics, with severe thunderstorm, whatever the case may be. So just so that you know, the weather people are a pretty good group of people. All right, so Sam was the fifth longest major hurricane since 1966, which is what we call the satellite era. So it's top 5 longest major hurricanes. Out to the tropics we go. Aside from Sam and kind of the remnants of Victor, there is this little wave here, which is out near the Bahamas. It is going to kind of gradually lift up to the north. There is a low-end 10% chance of this developing over the next 5 days' time. Not really expecting much to happen there. Certainly fine. Kim, West Side references. But I'm glad you picked up on it. It's like you don't know if people are going to just snapping, but it's, Jeffrey, did you throw Weagle overboard? Listen, no, I did not throw Weagle overboard. He's busy or what? You never know. Dan says, don't bash your competition because life is full of unknowns. You never know who you may work with or who you may need to by your side in the future. I agree. It's very true. It's very true. And it's kind of fun too, where, like, we're all nerds. It's kind of like coffee talk here. Like, we're kind of all nerds. Guess what? Where did I work prior to WESH and prior to West Palm Beach? Another station in town. And I keep up with them. Whoops. Because at the end of the day, look, it's like politics, At the end of the day, you're going to have your thing, I'm going to have my thing, but let's just not hate each other. Let's just be good people. What? You can actually like each other even if you're kind of not the same person? You mean you can respect and be respectful? What? Lassie, what? The well? Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, for what it's worth. So we don't think this is going to get going, but it is going to help to pump up some moisture. So take a look because we do have kind of an interesting little scenario here. All right, so here's our weather scenario. First off, you've got an old front that's kind of doing its thing. That's why Talladega was delayed yesterday, race fans. But you've got that moisture kind of bubbling up. And what's going to happen is they're going to end up like squeeze playing. So you've got that storm system coming in from the northwest. Like there's 5:30 p.m. You've got a nice little storm system around Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. You've got that tropical moisture out past the Bahamas. Then they're going to kind of start coming together. And what's going to happen to our forecast? We're just going to start to moisten things up. Now, we do think a little storm system is going to get pretty decent there along the coastline of the Carolinas, bring them some nice heavy rain. For us, it's just going to help to pump up the moisture, okay? If you get that reference, then we can be friends as well. Get it? Anyway. So take a look at the 7-day forecast because it does have somewhat of a moisture uptick. And when I say somewhat, I mean it's pretty clear, right? Today a 20% chance of rain, tomorrow a 20% chance of rain. But notice Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 50, 60, 70% coverage of showers and thunder showers. So there's a lot of moisture in play. All right? Does this potential system figure into the LRC? I think, Beverly, that it would be maybe the last indication of Eta. We're not quite. Yes, Jay, you got it. You got it. We're not quite to the news cycle. It doesn't usually get going until October 10th. So we're not quite there, but it's definitely time to sit back, relax, and watch the show and just kind of take it all through. So, yeah. They're calling for 2 to 5 inches of rain here in North Carolina. Right. I mean, it's going to be a really soggy setup for them. For us, thankfully, we're dry the next couple of days. But for hashtag first warning, our rain chances this weekend are going up in a pretty big way. So, as you I plan on heading out to one of the theme parks this weekend. Might mean a little bit of moisture. Might mean a little bit of poncho action, umbrella, what have you. Yeah. Are you stomping your feet while you're pumping up the moisture? Hey, you never know. I'm sitting at the old office desk, so you never know. How's Halloween weather? It's a little early to go that far out, but if we do this, we can take a gander and see what the LRC is like indicating. That's gonna be a nice and warm setup. Yeah. Now, what day is this? Let's just take it. Let's take a gander and see. So that is hold on. We're not quite to Halloween yet. That would be October 24th, and that's as far out as we can go. But it does look like there's a little front heading our direction. So let's just kind of take a look and see what the BSR is showing. Because remember, we can't use the LRC. I hit the stop button, rewind. Okay. All right, so this is the BSR. So we use 2 long-range forecasting methods on Coffee Talk. The LRC, which gives us months of headspace and headway. But now that we're entering into kind of the new cycle, we have to use the BSR exclusively. So here we are. This is... That's October 10th. Looking all right. Nice little storm system there off of the East Coast. That may give us a little cool down, perhaps. That's the 12th. Yeah, so I wrote in my notes, I've got a storm system on the 12th, and you can kind of see it there. Maybe a little front. That is... let me just change and just look real fast. Yeah, I mean, may have a little cool down there as well. I'm doing the noon and 4 those days, so that could be kind of a fun little setup. You've got a little front, and then upstairs you've got a little push. Not a big push, but a little push. Let's see what else we've got. All right, so continuing from there. That's another cold front there. Doesn't look like that's much of one, though. That's the... That's like the 13th/14th. And I've got a cold front in there on the 14th/15th. Let me just look. Let me just see what the upper levels look like. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, that's not much of a front there. Right there. That would be like the push of cooler air. That's 12Z. Yeah, that's like the 15th/the 16th of October. You see how the winds in the upper levels are kind of coming in from the northwest. That would be a little bit of a push in the jet stream. So that's a little something. All right, let's go back to the surface. Let's see what else we've got. And then that gets interesting there. That is a little storm system out in the Gulf. Doesn't really do much, but it's definitely, that's an interesting little scenario there. That would be, that's around October 19th. And I did take note that we are going to be watching the tropics on October 19th. So, yeah, definitely plays out. Not monstrous, but something. And then there again, maybe watching the tropics a little bit. That's October 23rd. Maybe watching the tropics a little bit. And kind of fading out. Yeah, so October 23rd, maybe watching the tropics. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Jeannie says, I'm voting for cool and dry on Halloween. Yeah, well, I would love that too. Linda, why is there a break in predictions in the LRC in October? So that's a good question. So the way that the LRC works is, the BSR, by the way, what we're looking at here, that pretty much works year-round, but you're limited to only being able to pick out kind of the bigger weather players. So what you have to do is, the LRC definitely benefits us. And the LRC has a blank spot in October and November because it's during those months that the new weather pattern actually sets up. So we have to go into kind of a more standby mode with the LRC, October, November, where we're observing. I will tell you, I am freakishly taking notes. And what you do is during the months of October and November, you look for these major weather players. And then once they play out, you take notes and watch them to loop and loop and loop. And once they're looping, you have an idea of your hurricane forecast and your winter and that's where if you recall, like last winter, those of you that have been with me for a little while, you know that I would put out these long-range forecasts. Like this is my January forecast I issued in December. My February forecast I issued in December. Kind of highlighted opportunities for stronger storms. Gave us just an early glimpse of things. And so, yeah, we'll be able to start doing that. But October and November is when I have to observe so that I can fill this out. So, yeah, we're not there yet. And that's not for this February. That's for last February. I want to make sure you know that. But at any rate, we'll be able to get into that business. Let's see here. Pleasant and Poinciana, Bob. I love that. Sharon, you've been a light in my life, I think, 3 years. When did you begin Coffee Talk? Well, thank you for that. We started Coffee Talk around Hurricane Matthew, which actually means that we're on like 5 years of Coffee Talk. Right? It's like 5 years. I think it's been 5 years since Hurricane Matthew. So we're coming up on our 5-year Coffee Talk anniversary. We started doing daily Coffee Talks right after Hurricane Matthew. Or right leading up to Hurricane Matthew. And then we kind of continued it after Hurricane Matthew. I don't know when we named it, but I do remember it was right around Hurricane Matthew. We started doing these daily things. And then we just kind of never stopped. So I call Hurricane Matthew the start of Coffee Talk. So yeah, we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. What does that even mean? What are we getting each other? 5-year anniversary gift. We are getting each other. What is the traditional 5-year anniversary gift? Wood. What is the new one? What is the not new? What is the contemporary? We're going to get each other wood, like a wooden plaque. Happy 5 years of Coffee Talk together. There you go. I'm late to the party, but we're having rough surf and rip currents this week. So things are going to be calming down this week over at the beaches. For example, if you're wanting to head out there today, here's... If I can click the right graphic. Not you, Mickey. Sorry. I love you, Mickey, but not here. We're already back to nearly 1 to 2 feet, so it's kind of calming down. The rip currents are still lingering, but as Sam passed by, Sam is what kind of churned everything off. So, yeah. Crystal, there is no depression off of the East Coast. We had already talked about it. It actually has a 10% chance of trying to get going, so not really expecting it to do much. If we look at the models over the next couple of days, it doesn't really do much, A sea of orange is a sea of high pressure. Now, that said, let's look at the longer range, and I'll bring it full screen for you. Let's look at the longer range, and we're starting to see something here around October 11th. My friends, that would be an indicator for the 2022 hurricane season forecast. But we're starting to see an indicator, something around South Florida. That would not be a good thing. I'm just telling you straight. If that plays out in October, that's going to be an indicator for a South Florida threat for next hurricane season, but we'll just continue through. And then something else that looks drunk. It's like heading in the wrong direction. Like, ooh, we're going to go out and play. So, these are going to be hints. Once we hit about October 10th, my friends, that's when we start to look for the beginning of the new pattern. Mary Beth is asking what happened to the Eta part of the pattern. I think that this is the Eta part of the pattern. It's it's late to the party a little bit, couple of days, but it's there. Yeah, so I think that this is the Eta part of the pattern. It's not really going to do much. The Eta part of the pattern is also why we highlighted the Outer Banks of the Carolinas, and that would kind of line up with this. So, yeah, we'll clear that out. Amiana, can you clear this up for me? Did you do a live show at your wedding? Was it rehearsal? I do not believe I did coffee talk on my wedding day. I don't think I did. I might have gone live, but I know I didn't do a coffee talk. Yeah. Let's see here. I think we should have a celebration for us original followers. It's funny. I just found... Let me see if I can find this. Hold on a second. If I can find this real fast. Give me 2 minutes. Thrill me. Let me see if I can find this real fast. What is my... If I can do this... If I can put my password in, it showed up on my memories today. I'll show you. You're not going to be able to hear it. Oh, for goodness sake. You're such a pain in my neck, Facebook. I'm just trying to show you how far we've come. Yes, an unrecognized device. Continue. I recognize it. It was me. Go. Be gone. You're annoying me, Facebook. Continue. Save browser. Be gone. All right. Just trying to pull up the Facebook from one of our original coffee talks. Memories. Almost there. Ah, yes. There we go. All right. There you go. There it is. That was one of our original coffee talks. That was October 4th, 2016. Yep. That was one of our original coffee talks. And what were we talking about? A little storm by the name of Hurricane Matthew. You may remember that. Yep. And by the way, that was quite a forecast. This is not a current forecast. Just need to say that. The Hurricane Center did a really good job of steering their forecasting. And I mean, but if you look at this is, this was the start of the coffee talk generation, my friends. Right? That was my old house. That was an old spot. Just kind of one of those funny little things. We have evolved, my friends. Coffee Talk has evolved. Look at where we're at. Kaylee, any other invests? No, for right now we're not. Nothing really going on, which is okay with me. These are the voyages of Coffee Talk. Its continuing mission to make weather understandable, to avoid the hype, because we just don't know until it happens or is happening. Oh, Jerry Goldsmith, how I miss you. Tropical storms are to novice observers all drunk. Yeah? Nikki, you did a live for your gender reveal of little Eric. I think we did it for Alexander as well. Yeah, that we did. I just don't think that I did for the wedding. Crystal says, I was watching Coffee Talk in Vegas and my ex would be so mad. Now I live in Central Florida without him, and I bet you're smiling just a little bit brighter. Boy, you can tell we're getting into that winter because the sun is almost hitting my face. I remember in the wintertime I had to put something up just to block the sun. This is when I started watching Tiffany all that long time ago. Wow. That's wild. I like the bookcase in the background with the weather book so prominent. Good staging. Max. Yeah. Just trying to spread some weather propaganda. And a big thanks to Chris, by the way, for that. I was there. You sure have expanded this. Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun how we've expanded this? I love it. I love it. And with that, it's funny. I had an iPad and I was like, well, if I get a MacBook Air, I can do maybe Coffee Talk remotely. And sure enough, it works. Put a poster of Manalfi on the window. Ay, Gewalt. I don't need to make the man's head any bigger. I'm just kidding. He's literally not. By the way, speaking of which, because he worked last night, you're stuck with me tonight. I'm on Wesh 2 News at 4, 5, 6, 10, and 11, baby. Which means we get to hang out during the newscasts. Sound good? I'm not putting a Manalfi poster in the window. He'd love it. Just like a picture of him facing out like he's on alert. Matthew dropped a tree on my shed and took the roof off my porch. Yeah, I mean Matthew was a decent storm. Yeah. Becca, you look good then and you look good now. Thank you, Becca. Thank you. Thank you very much. If I'm awake, I could tell you I don't stay awake very late very often, so I will fight it. But if I'm awake enough, I'll try and do an evening edition of Coffee Talk at like 9 o'clock. But if I'm honest, I can't promise it. It just depends if I'm awake or not. If I'm awake, I'll hop on for a couple of minutes. Linda, it's the M1. Yeah, that M1 screams. My MacBook Pro has the Intel chip, and I love Intel, but man, that M1 is just a beast. Wish I got Wesh. Carolyn, you can. Wesh.com. We stream every newscast, just as Kenneth said. All right, my friends. Well, listen. We laughed. We cried. We teased each other. That's it. That's it. All right, enough. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Can I key you in on a little secret? Can I tell you guys what I want to work on today? Before I get into work, I'm researching, and I don't know if anybody has done this. So for the holidays, I love decorating. And I want to look into video mapping for Christmas. Just a little video mapping on the house. And I want to know if I can find like a little housing to put like a little projector out there. I don't know. Maybe somebody would steal it. I don't know. But that's kind of one of the things I want to investigate because I've seen some fairly inexpensive ways to do it. And I would love that. So that's going to be my project right now. All right, listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you guys and gals later today on Wesh 2 News. And of course, Coffee Talk tomorrow morning. Be good, y'all. Bye.